What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to basketball, and more importantly, welcome back to Tier Maker. We've got another Tier Maker this week. Last week, we went and did the second-year players, or our sophomores, and we're like, hey, how are they doing at the end of their sophomore years, right? Because we're almost at the end of the NBA season. There's like 6 or 7 games left for most NBA teams at this point, and typically you hear me say on the channel, hey, end of the second year is when we can really start to derive some conclusions on some players. Well, now it's time to take a look at the rookies. This was an underwhelming rookie class, to say the least, right? I know there's people that want to say like, oh, yeah, there's a lot of hope here. Yeah, there's always going to be hope in the draft class. We're not giving up on any of these guys on the screens, but I want to give some ratings for some of these guys today. This is how the tier maker is going to work. We've got A right here, which I'm giving a definition behind, like, hey, this guy's looking like a stud, right? And by the way, this is based off of actual performance. This is not based off of expectations at this point, right? Typically in these videos, we go based off expectations. We're at the end of a year now. Let's just call it how it is at this point. B, it means you're like starter kind of good, right? Like, okay, you might be a starter in the NBA. Very cool. C, role player, right? Fitting in the rotation somewhere. D, maybe a bench player on an NBA team right now, but still belonging on the team. F, ew, it's not looking good. I'm not sure about you right now. And then we've got the not enough data right here. This is a compilation of people that are hurt or second round picks that are playing like less than 15 minutes a game is kind of how I wanted to cut it off, because I can't make these videos like an hour and a half. Nobody's gonna watch them. But anyway, that's what I'm looking to do with this. As always, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. I've responded to every single comment on my YouTube channel up to this point, and I intend to keep on doing so. Please go watch my my Do They Fit in the NBA series. These are my favorite videos to do on the channel. They're a lot of fun. They tend to perform really well right now, but I never get paid for them because YouTube demonetizes them, because the college basketball teams that own the clips don't understand how fair use works. So please go support them, so at least we can get some views and some subscribers based off them. I truly love doing these videos. Actually, this one didn't get claimed for some reason. They don't care about Danny Wolf, so go watch that one even more. Watch it twice. This one was a lot of fun, actually. A ton of fun. But anyway, yeah, leave a comment. I'll reply to it. It's that simple. Anyway, let's get into this very data-driven video. Alrighty, I've got these guys in no particular order whatsoever. I actually think I made this tier list, if I remember correctly. I think I was the one that went and found all the images and actually put this together. So pat on the back for me for actually putting in a little bit of work to the YouTube channel. But here's how this is going to work, right? We've got a couple different things we can look at in terms of data. We'll pull up EPM numbers if we really need to. Otherwise, I'll just kind of be talking about these guys in some depth and giving my opinions on them after just one season in the NBA. As always, again, this is not a final verdict on anybody, right? These are young guys. They have a lot of time to grow, right? So if your player ends up in ew right now, don't trip, right? Things can get better. Things can get better. And something that I want to bring up right away is, in this draft class, we really haven't seen much like all-star level potential, right? And that's something we knew going into this class, is that it doesn't look great. I'm sure somebody's going to figure it out and get there, but we don't really see something like that right now. This next draft class, it's looking like we're going to see a lot of it. And look, we have those up and down years in the NBA. This happened to be a pretty low year in terms of expectations. If you talk to any scout, if you were watching my channel at all, you'd hear that. Also, in this next class, we're hearing so much potential, right? So we're going to have even higher expectations for these guys, and that's kind of how we're going to evaluate things. And one other thing I want to note, right? One other thing is March and April in the NBA. We've talked about it a couple times in the channel. It's not exactly a real thing, right? We take it into account. We take it into account because people are playing NBA minutes. But if you guys have been watching NBA basketball at all at this point, a lot of teams are just kind of rolling it out there at this point. They're signing a lot of guys to 10 days. They're calling up G League dudes. They're rolling them out on the court and being like, hey, you're going to get 25 minutes tonight. That's just how things are going to go. You're seeing people get shut down at these points. Teams aren't scouting each other once March and April really hit. Teams are being more conservative with their lineups if they're going to the playoffs. If they're bad, they're tanking, right? So just take that into account, right? Is if you've seen your best rookie on your team scoring 20 points a game recently, that's pretty common. One thing I did recently is I was doing a project for something for the team that I work for, and I was pulling up Josh Jackson's numbers. Do you guys remember Josh Jackson? He was supposed to be a stud in the NBA. He's going to catch a little bit of smoke right here, unfortunately. But here's Josh Jackson from the end of his rookie season. This is a guy that did not even really come close to making it in the NBA. Look at the end of his rookie year right here. It was just buckets, 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 buckets. It's just what happens. It's just what happens in the NBA. You can go find tons of examples of it. You can find examples of it this year. So just some context for you guys, because I want you guys to be more educated basketball minds out there. But I'm stalling. Let's get into things. Zachary Reese-Shea, coincidentally, the #1 pick, is the #1 person on our list right here. Reese-Shea had a tough start to the season. He had a pretty tough start, and I think it's pretty easy to understand why. First of all, you're a rookie in the NBA, and despite him being a first overall pick, nobody was saying, hey, this guy's going to be an all-star. He's probably the least talked about first overall pick ever, it feels like. But what did we say about him coming in? We're like, hey, this guy should be a quality starter in the NBA. Looks pretty smart, should be a solid athlete. Looks like the shooting form could be a real thing. He was never a good shooter until his last year in the pros, and it kind of came around at the back half of this year. He got hurt for a little bit there, and once he came back from the injury, things were looking really smooth. I think he struggled a lot at first with playing in the Atlanta Hawks system because overseas basketball just doesn't see what like Atlanta does with like Trae Young and how much he has the basketball. That's just not really a thing that happens in like global leagues. So I think that took a lot of adjustment for him to be like, okay, I'm really like playing and waiting off of other people. It's like the complete opposite overseas. And then also just adjusting to the NBA game, right? It takes a little bit of time, but the back half this year, man, he's been really good. The shot has looked really clean. We're starting to see the handle a little bit. He's a really smart defensive player. So I feel pretty confident putting him in like that starter level category. I think that's exactly where you'd expect him to be this year, or that's where you hoped he would be. And I'd say that's where he is. I think he's got a promising future in the NBA. Again, I'm not sure I see like an all-star or anything out of him, but I see a guy that's able to create off the dribble a little bit. He gets a little bit goofy with his handles sometimes. He doesn't always know exactly where he wants to go, but overall, like, he's finding his groove a little bit, especially in the shooting. Like, he's getting to his spots. He's hitting consistent threes from certain spots on the floor. I like it. I like it. I think you should be pretty happy with Reese-Shea at this point. This was probably the best you could do with the draft class, and that's what you got. And now we're going immediately to Cody Williams for the Utah Jazz. We said going in, this guy's going to be a project. He's going to be a project. Well, statistically, he is one of the worst players in the NBA, if not the worst player, actually. Well, actually, I can tell you, this is dunks and threes, so those of you not familiar, EPM is basically an overall. That's the best way to explain it. They can give it to you in offense, defense, and then like an overall 100th percentile means you're the best, 0 means you're the worst. Here's a graph of every single player. Here's Shea, here's Jokic, all the way down here is Cody Williams, unfortunately. It's not good for Mr. Cody. 4th percentile defensively, 1st offensively. He just doesn't look like he's comfortable at all out there, and that's unfortunate, right, for a 10th overall pick. And again, expectations were not high to begin with, and we're going to give him time to develop because we've seen a 6'9" guy that could put the ball on the floor a little bit and should be better defensively than he is. But I mean, there were nights where he played like 30 minutes and took no shots. Like, it's kind of rough out there for the kid. So we're gonna keep it short and sweet. It's in the ew right now. Hope it gets better. Hope it gets better. Matas Buzelis, my Chicago Bulls rookie. Okay. Matas is an interesting case, right? Because if you go and look at his numbers this year, it's not that good. It's not really that good, right? And you know what? Let me just pull up the numbers on here so I can show you like overall this season. It was definitely a lot slower to start the year, right? He's a rookie. It's totally fine. He's playing off of guys that aren't going to give him the ball a bunch. 30th percentile offensively, 23rd defensively, 20th overall. You can see things were dipping and dipping for a while, and they've been starting to come up in kind of this March and April time frame, which is great, right? That's cool, but as we said, that's not always a real thing. I can't take a lot of stock in that. When you watch him this year, nobody guards him at all in the half court. They just let him do kind of whatever. I don't really like the handle at all. The shot form confuses me a little bit. I don't think it's all that special, but he's a really good athlete. He's got a good motor. In transition, he's a lot of fun, and I know it's easy to get excited about a rookie that's going up and down the court and dunking and everything, but I don't know, but I like the motor that he has. That's really cool. What he's going to do long term, I'm not so sure, but there's no reason he's not going to be a starter like going forward for this team just because there's no one else in his way currently on the roster. But I'm going to put him in probably the role player category right now because, again, like he is having some good scoring outputs, but if you're watching the game, he's not being guarded, right? So I don't see his particular skill set that looks great right now, but you got a guy that's that big and can move. You're always going to be a little bit interested, right? And I'm very hopeful that he turns into something for the Bulls, but for the time being, I'd say overall he's more of like role player good in the NBA. Like, yep, you're going to throw him out there for a little bit of energy, go block some shots. He was really good at blocking shots this year, which is awesome. You got to use that athleticism somehow. So there you go. Devin Carter. Okay. I want to give him like a little bit of slack because he was hurt for so much of this season. But it was a little bit rough for Devin out there this year. Offensively, 34th percentile. Defensively, he did get to above average, which is good. He started out really rough because again, like he's just coming back from injury or whatever. He has a little peak, he comes back down, but now we're really seeing it go back up. I like that, right? He gets a ton of rebounds for his position. He gets a lot of steals. So that's cool, right? I'm not sure I see him as like a consistent role player yet in the NBA just because like the offense is a little bit rough at this point. And again, I don't really take into account the March and April stuff too much. But like for a guy that just didn't get to play much this season, and really I probably should put him down here in like the not enough data, but he was a first round pick. So I want to kind of give him a little bit more how should I say, credit to be rated, if you would. I have Dylan Jones like on here. He just really didn't play for OKC, right? At least Devin was thrown into the rotation eventually. I'm going to put him in the bench player spot as of right now, but I just think that that's probably the most I can comfortably say for him, just because there were some really rough points for him shooting-wise this year, and offensively he looked really uncomfortable. But again, coming back from injury during a rookie season, being a rookie point guard, incredibly difficult. Give him some time. We'll see what happens, right? I hope he can become a nice defensive player in the NBA. Bub Carrington. This is an interesting one. Bub's been playing pretty well recently. Honestly, a lot of the Wizards have been on a pretty big upswing right now, which, again, makes a lot of sense. They're the team that are still playing their exact same lineup at the end of the year, right? They did bring in some vets, which has definitely helped the team as well, and Marcus Smart and Chris Middleton. That's just going to make things hum a little bit easier for a Wizards team that was just so bad this year, right? And it's the Wizards. We don't need to pick on them too much. We know they suck. It's not a big deal. What I like about Bub Carrington is he's getting people involved. He's definitely getting people involved, and I can tell he's trying to do the right things on the court at all times, which is cool. It doesn't always turn out that well. The shooting numbers are pretty rough. Like I should just pull up Mr. Bub here so you guys can see the numbers as well. Let's take a look at the shooting, right? True shooting wise, 19th percentile. He can't finish at the rim really at all. The 3-point percentage is okay. The mid-range, he takes a lot of mid-range shots, so it's no surprise that he's pretty good at that. It's not something I necessarily want to see long term, but like all these ebbs and flows and everything, I'm not tripping about it, right? Like you should never trip about a rookie's efficiency. Like you really shouldn't. You can praise it if it's good, but if it's bad, it's like, yeah, they're a rookie. Who cares, right? It's not a big deal. As you heard me say at the beginning of the video, I'll start to judge that at the back half of their second year, right? If they're making some strides then they're actually learning some stuff, cool. But overall, like, not the most efficient season. If we go look at like some of the actual numbers defensively, he's pretty horrendous. But if you look at any Washington Wizards player, they're going to say their defense is horrendous. So we cut a little bit of slack for, honestly, a lot of slack for that. Like game planning doesn't make any sense. Like they're just running them out there with like chickens with their heads cut off. It doesn't really make sense. So I want to give them some credit, because honestly, when I watch the game, it doesn't look like second percentile bad, because this is like being compared to like Keontae George, and it's not even close. So I want to say, realistically, if the Wizards had any sort of competency, he'd be more so in like a 30th or something like that, but we have to take that into account. So I'm gonna say he's doing better than like a Devin Carter, so I feel like I have to put him in like a role player spot right now. That's where he's currently gonna find himself, is more of a role player type position. And you might say, oh, ABC, he's gonna be a starter for us or whatever going forward. You're the Wizards. Yeah, no, I could throw like a can of Doritos out there and they might start for you right now. So just take it easy, okay? Take it easy. Khalil Ware. This is an interesting one. Shooting numbers, not that great, but we kind of expected that coming in. Defensively, kind of started to figure some things out, which I was surprised about when looking at Khalil Ware, is I kind of figured the defense would actually take a little bit longer to get going this season. But take a look at some of this. Like a lot of the defense like was kind of down, and now we're kind of going back up. We're coming back down to earth a little bit, but I figured it'd be much lower this year, because he made a lot of mistakes like early on in college, like jumping at things he shouldn't. He still does that a little bit, but I figured there was going to be a bigger transition than where he's at right now, because he's about average in the NBA offensively and defensively. He's really good at the rim. The shooting percentages are pretty good. He's rebounding the shit out of the basketball. He's blocking the shit out of the basketball. This is nice. I know people have been saying for a long time they wanted a true center next to Bam, and for a couple of years there I was pretty like, nah, I don't really want to do that. But Bam's developed the skill set where like the question can be had now and the conversations can be had, and we're rolling it out on the court and some interesting things are happening. So cool. Obviously, Kalel being able to shoot is eventually going to be important, but right now I don't care too much that it's only at like a 32% from three. That's fine for a rookie season for a center for me. I think there's potential for it to get better. So I'm gonna put Kalel in the starter category, man. Like, he's doing a lot of really good things as a rookie already. And we said coming in that I'm like, hey, I think this guy can be an NBA starting center in a couple of years, and hey, he's gonna do it for the Heat team, which is competitive on a nightly basis. So credit to him, man. That's awesome. Jared McCain. He got hurt this year, right? He didn't play long, but while he was getting buckets. Throw him in the starter category. He's going to be a starter when he comes back next year next to Tyrese. Defensively, going to have to work on a couple things here and there, but offensively, man, he was getting buckets. I can never understand completely how he was getting those buckets, but he was getting them. There was like one point where the shooting was dying off like a little bit right before he got hurt, and I think he was coming down to earth a little bit, but hey, he was going to win Rookie of the Year if he stayed healthy, right? It was just impossible not to. Dalton Connect. Interesting one, right? His minutes have not been the most consistent this year, and you know what? You're a rookie, that's what's going to happen, right? Just look at his minutes per game this season. Look at this. Bum, 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 not really getting much, not really getting much. Whoa, I'm getting so many minutes, right? Because people are hurt, and then crashing. We start to go up a little bit more. Crashing. Not really playing anymore as we're trying to do the playoff push. What do you see out of him just by looking at this? Offensively, when he's in, he's really good. Defensively, he's pretty rough right now. But he's 6'6", 6'7", solid athlete. Eventually, we're going to get it, right? Turnover percentage. He doesn't turn over the ball very much. He also doesn't get many assists. So really, he's out there to shoot the basketball, which he did very well this season. Very well for a rookie, I'll say. He's an older rookie, but still, he shot up solidly above league average. We'll absolutely take that. JJ Redick's going to be one of those guys that like pulls him along slowly because he's a rookie. That's what you should do, in my opinion, and I think it's going to be okay. Whether or not he's upset that he technically got traded at one point this year, and now he's back, I don't know. Maybe they try to trade him again in the offseason because reasons, I don't know, but for the time being, I know he's playing like a bench player role right now, so I think that's where we have to keep him because look, he's on a good basketball team. There's a couple people above him on his position, so that's probably where I want to keep him for the time being. But like, if you wanted to make an argument that he's a role player, sure, you can get in the comments and go, EVC, he should be a role player. Well, it doesn't look like it right now. I see the graph right here. Try to use some numbers to tell me why he should be there. That's your challenge of the day. By the way, here's the part in the video that you guys are all curious about. We've been doing the word of the video thing, right? Where we've been doing it for like a couple videos now because I look at the retention graphs on my videos, like they look like this, and I see when people drop off in the video. So now I've been saying, hey, say X word at the end of your comments that I know you watched like the whole video, or you can just comment it whatsoever. But I've been having the thought recently of like, hey, people could just go to the comments and find the word, right? They'll see the word that everybody's saying. So here's what I want you to do instead. Just go put your favorite day of the year, just a date. I don't care what the date is, just go put a date at the end of your video. And so people will be a little bit confused what's going on with that one. But now you know. Now I know if you put that at the end of your comment, you a real one. Some of y'all got real creative with those words as well, but I don't know. Tristan Da Silva for the Orlando Magic. It's so hard to judge this team just because one side of the ball was just so disgusting for them this season. I know, Orlando Magic fans, you guys have heard it, right? Offensively, you guys suck. Defensively, you guys are awesome. The culture looks great in Orlando. There, we've said the things that we need to say, right? Tristan Da Silva is one of those where if we pull up the numbers, it's probably going to look pretty scary, right? Probably going to look pretty scary. Let's take a look. 33rd percentile offensively, like not the worst for a rookie. 39th percentile defensively, not the worst. He is an older rookie, so you'd maybe expect a little bit better. And for a guy that's supposed to be a spacing like 4, the numbers are a little bit concerning here, right? At one point, it was really bad. It was really bad. It was kind of coming up again. We're kind of coming back down towards the end of the season, which, again, I'm not going to take any stock in any of this just because their offense is so wonky and they have no room to operate whatsoever. If you're watching the games, I've never really seen Tristan Da Silva look out of place, which is really, really good. He seems like a smart basketball player, and really the shots just aren't falling, and the team isn't necessarily built for them. So this is one where we kind of have to think a little bit like more than the average Twitter commenter, right? Where the average Twitter commenter would be like, oh, yeah, no, he's not scoring any points. You're a dum-dum, right? That's what you are. You're a dum-dum. When you're watching the game and you're being critical about it, I can say, okay, Orlando Magic did not build a very good offensive team. This guy cannot really create his own shot, and we did not expect that. There was nothing to say he was going to do that. So we have a spacing 4 with no space to operate, and he can't create his own shot. So how is he going to have success this year? But when we watch him, we're like, okay, at least he's like going to the right places and stuff like that. So I want to give him a little bit more credit than that. We have to give him the bench player role just because there was really no production. But I say all of those things to be like, hey, use the context given, right? And say, hey, if we go do the right thing a la Detroit Pistons this offseason, where it's like, hey, maybe if we put some guys that can shoot around Cade Cunningham, maybe things will go better. And I'm like, oh, you're saying put NBA players around Cade Cunningham? Oh, that's like what AVC's been trying to say for a while on his channel. Maybe you'll win some games then and see how good Cade Cunningham is. And then it happens, right? It's that fucking simple. It's that easy. Can you just please, Orlando, just go get a point guard this offseason. Go get a scoring point guard. I've got one in Kobe White. You can have him. He's a lot of fun. You can have him. Just give me a draft pick. Jacoby Walter for the Toronto Raptors. He was surprising to me. I thought he'd be much better defensively than he actually was this year, as he was pretty rough defensively this season. 28th percentile, so just above the first quartile. 28th percentile overall this season, so not great. Another Toronto Raptor that just can't finish at the rim whatsoever. We got Dick and Walter not able to finish at the rim. 3-point percentage, not bad. I think it's skewing up right now. Yeah, it's been skewing up in March and April. Getting more consistent minutes, I presume, has been. Yeah, he's been getting a ton more consistent minutes. That's going to help. And it's March and April, so I'm not going to read into it too much, but overall, I wasn't very impressed with Walter this season. I don't know. Defensively, he didn't look like anything special. Offensively, I didn't see anything that intrigued me really either. So I think for the time being, like again, he's not playing bad by any means, but we're going to put him in more of this bench player type role. But I'm just maybe not as optimistic about him as I am some of these other guys on here. And that's just my thought. Alex Sarr, the second overall pick. What did we say coming in about him this year? He should be awesome defensively. Well, no one on the Wizards was really great defensively, just because they're the Wizards, right? And their point differentials are just nuts, and people are scoring on them all the time because they're not very good at basketball. But Sarr looks like he is an awesome defender, right? He's protecting the rim, he's rotating over, he's switching onto point guards, he's doing all this stuff and keeping his feet moving. It's awesome, right? He's looking like he's got all the natural instincts to be a good defensive center in the NBA. Offensively, hasn't really come around this year. We knew that, though. Like, there was nothing to say that he was going to be able to create his own shot, and there's no one to help him create his own shot. I think the way the Wizards use him is absolutely idiotic as well, where he's just kind of posted up in corners sometimes. I don't know, right? I'm trying not to read too much into it. Hopefully they just fix their coaching and stuff in Washington. But defensively, looking really good. The fact that he's like bringing the ball up in transition is really exciting at times. Like, he looks very smooth with it. There's times where he completely doesn't know what to do with the ball afterwards. But the fact that he is that big and he can glide up and down the court like that, there's something to build off of there. So again, while he was the number 2 pick, you want them to be all-stars. Not all of them are going to be all-stars. I personally don't see that in him, but I think you've got a starter in the NBA going forward, man. Like, I'd feel very comfortable with Alex Sarr as my starting center. You've got a really athletic guy that, yes, he needs to be a little bit better around the rim sometimes. Sometimes he's a little bit like, I'm not sure if I'm going to shoot this or I'm going to kind of fade away or whatever. Be a little bit stronger. Teach him a little bit more about what he can do with the basketball would be cool. Just keep improving the three-point shot, and like, hey, defensive versatility, awesome. So we like that. Jalen Tyson for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like, didn't really get a ton of burn this season because they have a good team, but something to take in mind is they were looking for this wing position to really like turn into something for someone. So the opportunities were there on this team. It just never really came around. As you can see, like, the most he ever really got to was about league average for things, and that was very specific points. You look at some of the shooting this year, nothing to really write home about. We said coming in, he's one of those guys that he just needs the ball at all times to be successful, and he's just not going to get it on this team. So I didn't like the fit of him going here at all. So I guess he's going to be a bench player for the time being. I have nothing to say that it's like really concerning outside of I don't know how he's going to get to like actualize his skill set on this NBA team, but in terms of like talent and everything, like, sure. I'm just, again, not as excited about Jalen Tyson. Yves Missy. Okay. Contrary to popular belief, Yves Missy, not the best defender this season. It was a little bit rough at times, but he was thrust into some really hard situations this year, playing with basically non-NBA teammates and as a guy that can't really do much for himself, right? He's a lob, block, threat, gets rebounds. Cool. He grabbed a ton of rebounds. He blocked some shots. He was running to the rim. There were times where he really tried to dunk people, like from unnecessary distances, and it just didn't work out this year, but I love the intensity that he's playing with. Now, he's probably going to be the starter for New Orleans going forward. Production-wise, I'm not positive that he necessarily deserves that. It was more so just they had no centers on the team this year, right? We all knew he was getting picked with the Pelicans pick going into this. So I don't know. I think I want to put him in the role player category. I think that that's more so fair. Some of the production was like really rough this year. Let's just take a look at numbers really quick just so you can see. Yeah, really bad defensively. Offensively, he did a little bit of stuff right here. If you look at the EPM, he never really got to like league average even, but again, this team was a mess this year, so I'm not tripping about that whatsoever. But he's grabbing rebounds, blocking shots. That's what you expected out of him, so I think you should be happy with like a 20th pick that you got a nice role player out of it. That's cool, especially at the center spot. That's hard to find. AJ Johnson. AJ Johnson, I couldn't believe was a first-round pick this year. Dude is incredibly raw, and this is where Wizards fans start to go, have you seen what AJ Johnson's been doing recently? Shut up. Just shut up. Look at the numbers. 13th percentile offensively, 18th defensively, and you know what? It's actually getting worse. It's actually getting worse, despite this point of the season. I know he's had a couple 20-point outings, and I know he's so fast. He's so fast. Just calm down a little bit, right? The assist numbers, pretty solid, right? We're liking those right now. He's running around, he's making plays. Very cool. Turnover numbers, not great. He's a rookie point guard. I don't give a shit about that. That's more than cool. It's the rest of it, man. He has so much to learn. He's really gifted athletically, though. So you want to develop this guy. You really do. It's just not there right now. It is not even close to there right now. I'm telling you this as like a person that cares about you, Wizards fans. I know you want to be excited about things. He is a ways away right now. Like, there's just so much for him to learn. He is constantly out of position, constantly on offense and defense. And your untrained eye might not see it, but mine does. Okay? Like, I see the plays that are trying to be run, which aren't good to start with. He's not there. He's not. And I can tell his teammates get a little bit frustrated with him at points too. But it's whatever. It's not a big deal. He's a rookie point guard. He was drafted higher than he should have been. He's a project, and he is very, very gifted. So we're going to give him some time. Hopefully he develops. I said it was going to take at least a year or two for him to even kind of find a baseline in the NBA. So that's how we're going to treat it. But for the time being, I'm going to put him just in like bench player. Like, yep, he should be on the team, but that's about it. Keyshawn George, another Wizards player. I've been pretty critical of Keyshawn George this year, and the reason is like it pisses me off when people give such low effort at moments, and like it was apparently obvious when he was giving no effort on the court this year. But here's the thing. He's on a bad basketball team, right? So we're going to cut him some slack here. He's 19 years old. He's going and just getting his ass whooped every single night when he's been good at basketball his whole life. That's a hard thing to swallow. It just is. So I'm going to give him some credit for that because he did turn the defense up quite a bit in the back half of the season. Once like the vets got on the team, things really took an upswing for him, and I can tell he's locked in a little bit more. I watch an uncomfortable amount of Wizards games, if you can't tell. And so while I don't necessarily like dig his archetype a ton still, he's like this guy that's like a pseudo ball handler that doesn't really have any creation moves coming in, and he's not really that quick or athletic, and the jump shot, I'm not sure about it. I'm really not sure. So I'm going to put him in the bench player spot for now, but we're excited that we've seen a little bit of an upswing in the energy and stuff. Terrence Shannon Jr., inconsistent minutes, deep team, extremely talented player. If you guys remember, I had him like top 5 on my big board coming in, I think, and we all know a big reason why he fell in the draft, despite being a super, super talented player, is because of the off-the-court stuff that was found to not be true. So dude kind of got screwed, right? Dude kind of got screwed out of things. Timberwolves fans, I know you guys have been clamoring to see him all year. There's a lot of other guys in front of him on the roster. I know. It's tough. He looks good when he's out there. Timberwolves fans, you let me know in the comments. I know you guys get excited when he's on the court. Dude is a bullet when he's out there. He gets that defensive rebound. He goes coast to coast like like no one I've ever seen. He is so reckless with doing so, but he can just do it. He's like potentially the best transition player in the NBA when he gets going. Like, you think Denny's out there just running, like, and running? No, Terrence Shannon Jr., you have to just go find some clips of it. It's so interesting. So not a ton of data off of him. Absolutely dominated the G League when he was in there. This year he's too good for that. Hopefully he finds a spot in the rotation next year, but just kind of a pseudo role player for the time being because we all see the talents there. Ryan Dunn. What do I do with Ryan Dunn? Defensively, a lot of fun. No, we don't need to rhyme out here. It's really not a rhyming thing. Defensively, very cool, right? That's what we expected coming in. Offensively, can't create anything for himself. Offensively, it was actually kind of okay to start the season. Got a little bit better, got a little bit worse, got a little bit better again towards the end of the season, because again, we tend to expect that out of the younger guys, especially the Suns, who are pretty much throwing in the towel at this point. The shooting percentage is not the best. 31%, but honestly, I expected worse. I really, really did. I'm glad that we've stuck even this close to kind of like a league average, if you would. That's pretty impressive to me for a guy that really only scored off of like backdoor cuts in college, but we're like, hey, this is one of the more talented defensive prospects we've seen in a long time. I'm not tripping about it, right? So we've kind of got a new Matisse Thybulle on our hands right now, someone that's really good defensively but can't do much offensively. Matisse has corrected himself a lot offensively, which is cool, so we'll give him some time to do so. But for the time being, do we call him a role player? Do we call him a bench player? Because, like, if you look at, like, the minutes per game, it doesn't necessarily suggest, like, and they've been really inconsistent this year, too. So, like, let's take a look at, like, the minutes per game. Look at this. Like, it dropped off completely for a while there. So that's why I think I kind of want to put him in the bench player category, but I'm a little bit more optimistic about him is where I'm going to find it. And by the way, how this is working out right now, this is kind of what I expected out of this draft class, right? And it should always be known that, like, in an NBA draft class, I know I say this all the time with like young player videos and things like that, most people won't become all-stars. Most people won't become starters in a draft class. Most people won't be on the same team that picked them by the end of their rookie contract. We found it's less than 30% of the time that happens. If you're a second-round pick that gets a second contract, you're already in the top 5% of second-round picks all time. Most of these guys are not going to become something, unfortunately. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about your best player, right? I want you guys to be more critical. Isaiah Collier, what a polarizing player this year. It has been a headache to watch this guy play, for good and bad reasons. Defensively, he sucks, man. Like, I hate to say that. I really, really do, because you guys know I want to be optimistic about things. It's bad. It never even really got, like, okay this season. It's not very good. We all know he's just not the smartest basketball player in the world. He's a very talented athlete, though. The 6'4", not sure I'm buying that from what I'm seeing out there. He just doesn't look that big. He looks strong, though. Offensively, we've had a little bit of an upswing and then things fell back down a little bit, but we're coming back up to like league average at the end of the season. Again, kind of expected. They're rolling him out there for a ton of minutes right now, and they're just saying, hey, do whatever. So very, very cool. The numbers that are staggering, the assist numbers, crazy. 97th percentile in assist percentage, but he is quite literally like one of the worst in terms of turnovers. So that's something, right? That is something. This guy's moving the ball around a ton, and he's turning the ball over. So really, like, as a rookie point guard, you should feel pretty good about that. Like obviously, you don't want him to be like the worst like he is. That's not good, right? But we expect high turnovers out of a rookie, but he's finding a lot of people still. But when I watch the game, it's just so clunky, and it doesn't look like it has any direction. So I don't know. I literally just think they're kind of stat padding him a little bit because they just let him kind of do whatever right now. The Jazz are really just rolling the ball out. So I don't know. I think I got to put him, like, he's playing so many minutes, but let's be critical about it, right? Let's be smart and say we know the Jazz aren't trying very hard. So I kind of want to put him in like a bench player role for now, because on a good basketball team, they just wouldn't put him out there. So that's where I'm going to put him for now. Reed Shepherd. Oh, it was a rough year for Reed. It was a rough year for Reed. For those of you that remember, I was pretty critical of Reed Shepherd coming in to this NBA season, and it turned out to be, unfortunately, true. We hope the best for him going forward. We really, really do. The three-point shooting, these are really low volume numbers, as you can see. So don't read into this graph too much, but couldn't even really shoot the ball this year. Inconsistent minutes, got absolutely like abused defensively this year. That's kind of what we anticipated. It was rough for Reed, especially as like a third overall pick. It's not what you want to see. The ball handling's not quite there yet. He had a couple interesting moments, but It was bad. It was bad. It was bad. It was bad. I'd feel rough putting him in F, but like I didn't see anything that says like you should be on an NBA roster right now. I really, really didn't. I want to put him in bench player. I really do. But I think I have to put him in F right now. And this is when Rockets fans come back out of the woodworks, please. All you Rockets fans that deleted your comments on all my videos this offseason saying Reed was going to be an absolute stud and like your starting point guard next year, please come talk to me. I have way more hope for Reed Shepherd than I do Cody Williams. I really do. I don't think he's ever going to be more than a role player, though. I really don't. And I hope it's better. I hope it is, but it was a rough season to watch. Like, he was legit, like, scared at points this season, it looked like. Like, when his defender, or when he was defending someone and they'd catch the ball, he'd, like, take a step back, like, right away, because he's so used to just getting a shoulder to the chest. Because, why wouldn't you? Like, he's just that small, and he can't really guard anybody, but he's a smart basketball player. I will give him that. Like, he is smart. Like, he takes advantage of all the little opportunities on people. So that's what I have to kind of hang the hat on with him and hope for a better tomorrow. Baylor Shireman. Didn't really play much this year, so we're putting him in the bench player role, but when he was out there, not too bad. He's had a couple interesting moments in March, because, right, they're going to roll him out in March. They're going to be sitting some dudes, right? That's what the Celtics are going to do. He had some fun shooting nights. He's a good shooter, historically. Defensively, he's been pretty solid this whole season. He's been, like, above league average, if not league average. Let me confirm that with numbers, because that's what we do on this channel. Let me confirm that with some numbers. 78th percentile defensively. Wow, part of that's being on the Celtics, right? Like, these numbers, as you always hear me say, are very individualized. They're extremely individualized, right? But there's always going to be some things you can't measure, so he's always going to get a little bit of a boost being on the Boston Celtics, right? Because at the end of the day, he's on the court with Drew Holiday sometimes, and Drew Holiday's not going to make many defensive mistakes. So just take that as you will. But Baylor Shireman, he can go in the bench player spot for now. Keep developing him. Mogbo for the Raptors. God, I want to be more excited about him and call him a role player, but I can't. He's got to go in the bench player role for now. Here's why. Offensively, he doesn't do anything. It looks like he does a lot of things because the ball just gets moving when he's out there and he is active. It's just, it doesn't translate into anything. Defensively, though, like, he's grabbing rebounds, he's blocking shots, he's getting steals. This guy's just everywhere on the basketball court. So, like, we can do something with him. I to this day, when we filled out the draft reports on him, I kept saying, I don't know what to develop him into, but he's just so involved that, like, I want to have him on the basketball court for some reason, despite it being like a negative for the team overall, because he's just not that great right now. But he's so involved. I'm so curious about him. Like, I'm hopeful. I'm staying very hopeful on him. So that's Mogbo. That's what I got to say about him. Filipowski. Okay, another Jazz guy that's getting his numbers pretty inflated right now because the Jazz are just going to keep rolling him out, right? Okay. We understand that. Shooting numbers pretty good this year. Nobody guards him at all. I promise you, nobody's even attempted to guard him this year. The coast-to-coast stuff is kind of interesting. He gets the ball and he goes coast-to-coast pretty comfortably. He grabs no rebounds and blocks no shots, though, as like a 6'10 guy. That was my big concern coming in. He's a little bit soft. He can't really guard anybody. So I'm putting him in kind of the bench player thing for now. I'm not, like, concerned about him per se, but I don't really know what to do with him. He's a second round pick. It's whatever. Not a big deal. But he's played plenty of minutes this year, and he's had some cool moments. I'd have to imagine, though, if like the Jazz were really trying, he wouldn't be really out there. AJ Mitchell, a fun surprise second round pick for the Thunder. Has been hurt for a little bit now, but look, when the Thunder were in the midst of rolling everybody, which has been this entire season, he was a rotational player, and he was a role player. He gets to go here. The assist numbers were pretty cool. He was shooting the shit out of the basketball. Like, what was he at? Can we get the actual number for that? It was well above like 40%, if I remember. Yeah, 43%, 96th percentile overall. And like, he was creating a little bit of offense as well. Like, the overall offensive numbers like aren't that great, but as you can see, like, things were really starting to go up before he got hurt. So like, I saw him start to create for himself. He was getting comfortable. We can take this as, hey, start of your rookie season, you're a point guard. But like, wow, that was encouraging. That was really, really encouraging what we saw. So hey, you get to be a role player for now. Jalen Wells. Okay, Jalen Wells this whole season, the surprise second round pick. He was in the Rookie of the Year convo, right? Probably not going to do it. The shooting numbers have kind of been coming back down to earth, right? But he came in as a second round pick, started for a good basketball team. I know the Grizzlies have a bunch of things going on. We're going to see what happens with Ja Morant. I'm recording this on a Friday as of right now. So I know Ja Morant just did another gesture. I don't know what he's doing, but He's doing something. Jalen Wells, though, was a very solid contributor. 3-and-D, consistent, played his role well. So I think I'm going to put him in a role player spot. He did not, like, he wouldn't be a starter on a lot of teams. Like, the Grizzlies, just for whatever reason, despite having so much depth, have nobody really at the wing and nobody at the center spot. It's like, it's really weird. Not anybody that you're necessarily, like, thrilled to have in those spots, right? Nobody, like, solidly a starter, right? You can have that argument with me if you want in the comments. But, Wells had a great rookie season, though. Great rookie season. You should be really, really excited about it. Don't worry about the ebbs and flows too much. We saw enough this year to be like, hey, this guy should be a nice rotational player for you for a long time. I don't know if he's the long-term answer as a starter, but hey, he's there. He's there. Stephon Castle. Okay, so let's give some context behind Stephon Castle, right? Everything coming in with the draft, awesome. Like, he got to the team that he wanted. Him and his camp played the media like a fiddle and everything as much as they could, because they were like, please do not let us go to one of these other teams. We want to go to San Antonio. This is where he wants to be. Culture-wise, he fits in. Perfect, right? The defensive intensity was awesome this year. He made a lot of mistakes on defense this year, but he had a lot of really great moments as well. Offensively, you can tell having like the Chris Pauls on the team really had an effect, because at one point in the season, all of a sudden he started pulling out like 2 or 3 new moves when he was going to the rim. While the shooting was like his whole thing was he'd be the best player in this class. I typed in shooting, like that was his name. But let's pull up Stephon Castle. The whole thing with him that we said was, hey, if he can shoot, he's the best player in this class, but he couldn't, right? And when we look at it, 28%, that's honestly a win in my book, because it was pretty abysmal. He had some moments where things really got going this year. As you can see, like, he got to above that league average and it's kind of come back down. Let's hope we can build on that, right? Defensively, you'd probably be surprised to see he's really not that high on the list, but that's because it's dropped off significantly in the past, like, 2 months. But Wemby's been out. De'Aaron Fox has been out. He's not playing with, like, a real NBA roster at this point, so I'm not tripping about it, right? Overall, we saw a guy that can create for himself a little bit. He's a stupid good athlete. He was creating for other people as well, getting people involved passing-wise. Did he make a lot of mistakes? Yes, he did. But as a rookie, I don't care. I really don't. My only question really for Castle is not, can he be a starter in the NBA? Because that seems pretty apparent. I don't see necessarily a stud, because there's still so many like questions about him offensively and what he can really do long term. It's how do you fit him next to like Fox and Wemby? I don't necessarily know the role that he's supposed to play as of right now, but he's going to go into the starter conversation. Is he going to win Rookie of the Year? I don't know. I hope that I would think the buzz from this whole season is just people kind of get lazy and they don't pay attention at this point in the NBA season, so he'll probably win it, and he probably deserves to. But I'm curious if Reese Shea or something gets in the conversation because of the good back half of the season he's had. Oso Ighodaro, second-round pick for the Suns. Throw him in the... Where do we want to put him? Let's throw him in the bench player position here, but with a little bit more excitement than like a Filipowski, right? Because offensively, like, he doesn't make many mistakes. He was moving the ball a lot. He worked as like a hub a little bit at times. He finishes really, really well at the rim. He grabs a ton of rebounds and he blocks some shots. Cool. He's not really doing anything else to create for himself, but he was very solid in a lot of areas. Like, he's not the most talented person in the world, like athletically or anything. You could probably convince me that Oso could be in the role player role. I think I'm going to put him here for the time being, just out of, if anything else, his minutes were so inconsistent this year, right? Like, we can take a look at the minutes, like, real big drop off. They just stopped playing him and Ryan Dunn at kind of the same time, and now as they've been kind of tanking, his minutes are shooting up drastically, right? But I think I'm comfortable putting him here with saying, okay, yeah, no, he might figure something out. Jamal Sheed, we figured that he'd be solid coming in this season. He was, for a rookie point guard. He's a little bit older. The offensive output isn't exactly beautiful, but there was enough there passing-wise that, you know, you probably feel okay about him. That's all I'm probably going to say about Jamal Sheed with this one. Ron Holland, 5th overall pick. Shocked that the Pistons took him, and I know Pistons fans love him, and I love the energy. I still think you could have made a better selection, but he's here now. Defensive intensity is awesome, right? We keep saying that. Offensively, doesn't quite know what he's doing. He's kind of on an upswing at the back half this year. He's getting a lot more playing time. Yes, that's what's going to happen. There's still so many times where he just gets this tunnel vision and nothing really like happens, and you start playing some losing basketball because he's out there. But like overall, whatever for Ron Holland, right? Like the 3-point shot, it sucks. The rebounding numbers, not bad. Assist numbers, nothing particular. The turnover numbers aren't great either. But again, the defensive intensity for a rookie, you end up in the 60th percentile. We take that. Offensively, again, the upswing at the end of the year, not really a surprise there, because you're going to see things like minutes and stuff start to creep up as well. So not really a surprise there. Long term, really interesting prospect developmentally because he does have a solid handle. He's a great athlete and he's got good intensity. He just has a lot to learn about basketball. That's going to come with time. I'm not sure he's going to get like a ton of like playoff minutes right now, because right now we're looking at about 15-ish minutes a game. Typically those guys fall off in the playoffs, so we're going to put him on like bench player for now. But again, like a Dalton Connect or something like that, he's going to be a long-term thing for them anyway, so I wouldn't trip about it too much. Quentin Post for the Golden State Warriors. Let's put him in the role player spot just like right away. Offensively, awesome. He's super smart. Like, most Warriors players that come in have to adjust to the Warriors style of play, and that's why those guys don't get better, right? Because they don't know how to adapt there for whatever reason. They just only play that style of basketball. And Quentin Post fits right in. Like, he gets it. He knows where to move. He knows where to set the screens. He knows where to pass. He's shooting the ball well. Cool. Defensively, he's not the greatest right now, but I'll give him a little bit of time. He's a rookie. Like, it's not horrible by any means. So I think if you're a Warriors fan, you should be kind of excited about this guy. I don't know if he's the long-term starter for y'all, but you've definitely got something here. You've been looking for size for a long time, and a spacing big? Very fun, very fun. To John Salon, production-wise, we have to put him in the ew. We just have to. If these guys are down here, he has to be down here as well, because it has been gross. It has not been very good for him, but it's on the Hornets, so, is what it is. Offensively, pretty bad. Defensively, actually getting back up to league average. It's actually been coming down, funny enough, so I wouldn't have thought it was that high, but he also doesn't get like a ton of consistent minutes, so that can skew it just like a little bit, but they weight this number pretty well, so I wouldn't trip about it. I think this guy's got a really high ceiling still because he's such an interesting physical specimen, but it looked rough this year. It looked pretty rough. Again, when you don't have people setting you up for things, the Hornets were kind of discombobulated this year. It's a tough rookie situation to be in, especially when he was considered a pretty hefty project for people to take on. So I'm not worried about it too much because, again, big dude, great athlete. When you see him put the ball on the floor, too, you just get so curious because you're like, wow, that's so impressive. Like, that's so impressive. But for the time being, it was a pretty rough rookie season. But, again, I feel a little bit better about, like, him probably than the other two even. I'd say Reed Shepherd I feel the next best about. Cody Williams I'm pretty worried about because it was just such a hard season to watch, and when you're statistically the worst player in the NBA is what it is, right? So, but for now I'm going to put T-John down there. And again, this doesn't mean that this isn't where I'm projecting them, right? This is just where we are right now, right? That's just where we are. Donovan Clingan. Yeah, you got a long-term starter in Donovan Clingan. Defensively, awesome. As we keep saying this year, dude's just out of shape for whatever reason, a little bit weird, and though his minutes fluctuated and stuff, when you really put him out there for minutes, Trailblazers fans saw what we saw going into things when we put him at number 3 on our big board. Defensive monster, gets so many rebounds, like doesn't even really need to score. The passing is like something that is for real, it looks like, because that was something that we pointed out that no one else was really talking about, and we're like, hey, there's like a little bit of hub that you can run with this guy, and he was doing it. Like, he's making those nice little slick passes over and under people. It's awesome. The 3-point shot, you saw a little bit of it this season, so maybe that becomes something. I'd love to see an offseason where he comes back in better shape and he's really running like we saw he was able to do a little bit in college. He'll finish better at the rim then because he's getting up a little bit stronger. Cool. But overall, you've got a menace defensively going forward, so that's awesome. Rob Dillingham. We're going to treat him the same as Terrence Shannon Jr., a guy that just didn't get consistent minutes, but when he was out there, you saw some really cool stuff. Honestly, if you look at his defensive numbers, ironically, they're going to be higher than his offensive ones. But, like, we know defensively he struggles, right? He's going to get abused. He's a smaller guy. It's just what happens, right? And offensively, he got really, really hot at points this year. Other points, really, really low. That's what you get out of these spark plug little guards, right? These guys typically don't find themselves any higher than like a 9th, 8th man on a team. They just really tend to not. That's just kind of the archetype because, again, they can't really guard anybody. But, I think it was a pick well used, and I think he can be a nice role player for them going forward. Zach Edey. Again, we're just going to throw him into the role player, I think that's where he goes. We said coming in, we've kind of got a gimmick player in this guy, and I think that's a good way to describe him. Offensively, Consistent production, very, very good. Actually, I think he dropped a little bit. If like, I'm trying to think of all the box scores that I read every night, and I feel like he's been tapering off offensively just a little bit. Okay, no, he's falling back to average. So he's stuck around the average pretty well. He had one little dip, and then he had a little rise. So it's been pretty good this year. But overall, 78th percentile offensively, nice. Defensively, struggles. Right, he's a big dude, doesn't always know where to be on the court, but he's big, so he's gonna block some shots. He's got a little whiles to go with that. Not a big deal. The rebounding numbers, yeah, he's big as shit. Things are going to happen. I wish he didn't get, like, pushed out of position so much offensively. He'd be way better offensively if he just, like, knew where he should go on the basketball court. But, yeah, no, you've got an interesting little gimmick going forward because he's just bigger than everybody, and that's really cool to have out there. So, Memphis, I think you got a nice role player going forward. I don't know if he's your long-term starter. But anyway, this is my list. You'll notice didn't put any studs on here, and that's, I didn't expect to, but that's what we got, right? I don't see a stud out of here necessarily. Well, I hope my sweet Jared McCain becomes one. I hope my sweet Matas Buzelis becomes one, right? But for the time being in this year, we just didn't see a stud this season. Not one that we're like, wow, future all-star good, right? And if you really thought you saw that, like, come on, man. Like, I can talk you out of all of these guys, star potential-wise. Like, I promise you I can. And if you think that you have an argument, bring up some numbers with me. Prove it. Do a little bit of research. I'd be curious to see. But anyway, I appreciate you guys for watching. Let's go to the comment of the video. All right, y'all. Comment of the video is coming from the Is Danny Wolf NBA Ready? Again, go watch these videos. They're my absolute favorite on the channel. They seem to be performing well. This one I actually get paid for doing as well, which is awesome because most of the time they get claimed and yada, 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 right? So please go show them support, even though they often get claimed. But anyway, the comment comes from Anidler. I have no idea where these names come from, but he said, why Wolf isn't higher on the boards is a mystery to me. Rare combo of size, mobility, and handles. 5 to 15 range in my book. Yeah, like, it's, what I responded with is it's all probably just a silly age game. It's so interesting to me when, certain people like fall in the draft because of age. Dalton Connect was a major one, and I don't always get that. Like, as a college coach, I favored recruiting high school people because I didn't want young players coming in with bad habits from other places. So I get the argument that's made all the time. When it comes to the pro level, though, I don't know. I feel like some people just got it. And when I look at Danny Wolf, I'm like, man, this guy's pretty solid. I don't want to spoil the video if you haven't gone and watched it already, but like, please do, because I think you'd be shocked and be like, wow, yeah, like, this guy just looks so much better than a lot of people. Like, this looks like the goal for a lot of people's development. So why isn't he higher on things? So I just like that we brought up the conversation and everything. But hey, as you guys see, I'm replying to all these comments. So go leave me a comment. Like I want to have the conversation with you guys. It's my favorite thing about YouTube. And go join the Discord as well. Link is right here. Dum-dums, why haven't you done it yet? Go click the Discord, jump on, talk hoops with us. We are talking on there all the time. I got so many messages and notifications of people talking about different things on there all the time. It's absolutely great. But seriously, I appreciate you guys as always. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. Thanks so much.